Residence Massacre Night 3 released about a month ago as of recording, and with that, the wait for another update begins. But I think it's also time to talk about the quality of Night 3 itself. What did it do right and what did it do wrong? Let's just very quickly describe how someone would play the game to win. This update plays very similarly to Night 1 and 2, where you'll play from 12 AM to 6 AM. The game starts with you finding another person along with a lodge. You'll find resources around the map that help you survive during the night. These resources include marshmallows that help restore health, cameras that you can set up and see where the monster is, and Cola which restores your stamina. After you've found enough gas cans, you'll return to the lodge where the monster is then revealed, and you rush back outside where the night portion of the game starts. During the night section of the game, you'll have to choose which cabin you're going to stay in from cabin 1 to 4, and every now and then you'll have to move from one cabin to another. You'll also be able to use the beds within the cabins to hide from the monster whenever he comes to check if you're inside. You'll also have a shotgun to stun the monster, or you can use the gun to shoot a spider-head enemy that tries to break into the cabin you're in. And of course, the goal is to stay alive until 6 AM. What I think is a big compliment about this update is that the developers aren't just trying to copy and paste what has worked in the past. When you first got into the lodge, I was actually worried that the lodge is where the main game was going to take place, and that it would just be a bigger version of Night 1. So I was pleasantly surprised that the game instead goes for a pseudo free roam approach out in the forest. There's also a cool little detail of the guy who's helping you, who's throwing up blood, which foreshadows what'll happen to him when the night begins. The devs also could have copy and pasted the monster model from the earlier nights to this one. And although they do look similar, it is a different model they made, which they didn't have to. I think the developers make a great effort in trying to mix up the gameplay and create something original. Like mentioned before, you'll have a shotgun which can be used to stun the monster or temporarily get rid of the spider head. When hiding long enough in one of the cabins, the spider head will try to crawl through one of the windows. If you don't shoot the spider head, it'll take 1/3 of your health and alert the monster to your location, where it will kick down the door and try to kill you. You can use the blinds of the cabins to buy yourself enough time to react to the spider, since it would have to break open the blinds first to attack you. Some positives about this so far is that you're forced to get out from under your bed and listen and pay attention to your surroundings while also having to worry about the main monster barging in and killing you. Although it's simple, this gameplay works because it makes the player think on their feet. Otherwise, they'll die to the spider after getting hit enough times. You also can't just be outside forever because the monster will head straight towards you. So it forces you to play most of the game within the cabins around the map and interact with the other mechanics of the game. Another interesting gameplay mechanic is the amount of shotgun bullets you have on you. Since shooting him stuns him, you would think you can just infinitely shoot him, but you're only allowed 2 bullets at a time, which makes it so that you need to go outside of your cabin and find an ammo stash that randomly spawns around the map. The more you shoot the monster, the more resilient he'll become to the shotgun. So constantly shooting him isn't an option unless you want to make the shotgun completely useless against him. This bullet mechanic poses an interesting problem since players now have to find a good time when they go out of the cabin so they don't have to run into the monster. This would be the moment where you're supposed to use the camera since you're able to see where the monster is. All of this creates a dynamic where the player is having to think about their next move, and the wrong decision can hurt the chances of winning, but the player is given enough time to think of a plan in real time according to what's happening around the player, and it isn't unfair in that regard. However, this game does have its negatives. For example, if you're in a lobby with a bunch of other people, they're going to shoot the monster a ton of times, because of course they are. So by the time you have the misfortune of running into the monster yourself, the bastard is basically immortal to your bullets. I also hate that if you shoot the spider, you still give away your location to the monster. So the only thing you're really preventing is the spider taking your health. But now the monster will start roaming around your area regardless of what you do. And by proxy, it will gatekeep you from moving out without directly fighting it. Another problem is that the spider will try to attack you every 30 seconds. The night lasts around 7 minutes, and if you're lucky enough, you'll only have to spend half of that time inside of a cabin. And that means you'll only have to shoot the spider head 7 times. That's 3 separate times you're gonna have to go out for one of the bullet piles. The reason why this sucks is that for some reason there are often times where the monster won't stop patrolling the area that you're in, and the moment you go out for bullets, you'll run into him, and you will die if you don't have any bullets. Even if you do have ammo, after you've shot the monster twice, you might as well not even shoot him at all, because any bullets after that and he'll start moving almost immediately after being shot. So by the 3rd time you go for more bullets, there's nothing you can really do besides die. Of course, you wouldn't have to shoot the spider as much if you had someone else with you to help, right? Well, there's still another reason why you would have to move out, and that's the blinds of the windows. Remember, you're able to use the blinds to be able to shoot the spider, but after the spider breaks through one of the blinds, it can no longer be used anymore. So now you run the risk of the spider immediately alerting the monster to your location, even if you're able to spot the spider coming through the window. So you're basically forced to go outside and fight the monster even if it's not for the bullets. There's also another weird moment where if you shoot the spider, which in turn makes the monster go straight to where you are, if you're hiding under a bed and the monster doesn't see you, sometimes it'll double back into the cabin and it'll stay there for so long, the spider will come back even though you just shot it earlier. This puts you in an unwinnable situation where if you get up from under the bed to shoot the spider head, the monster is just going to instantly kill you. But if you do nothing, the spider head is just going to attack you and show the monster where you are and you'll die. I think that's the most infuriating part about this update, which is that you have to rely on so many things to work out that are outside of your control. You've got to hope that the monster isn't in the way of you getting to another cabin. You have to hope that the monster isn't near an ammo stash, or you'll have to shoot it, and then it'll build its immunity to your bullets. You've got to hope that the spider head doesn't attack you while the monster is checking your cabin. It sucks when you die in one of these ways because you're trying to think of how to beat the game, but you feel like you've done all you can. Regardless, I think it's admirable how far Residence Massacre has come. When this game first came out, it started a trend, a wave of new games that try to capture the magic of the first night. Some better than others, but you know what they say. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and Residence Massacre was definitely the game to copy. The devs of this game have more than what it takes to continue evolving their game. I think even with the flaws of this new update, it was a step in the right direction. It opted for a different experience from the rest, and I hope the game continues to become better. But what do you guys think? Was this new night what you've been looking for, or were you expecting something else? What would you want to see in the next installment? Anyways, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.